Hey guys, welcome to my video. This is my third video in the series of what to do when in quarantine when you're bored. So in this video we're going to be making our own recipe from my head, and what I came up with is that meal you can see over there. So as you can probably tell already, you will not be seeing my face in this video, but we'll be making a delicious meal, so stick around and yeah, and enjoy. Of course, that's what you come to watch people's YouTube videos for, right? Oh yeah, so yes, I am making this meal from scratch in my head, but I do have some prior experience to cooking, so I'm not exactly making from a blind point of view. So alright, let's get right into it. So for this I have 3 pieces of chicken and 1 piece of pork. I was going to make it a chicken only recipe, but because I realized that I only have 1 small piece of pork remaining, I decided to add it on to the recipe. So firstly, and this is where the prior experience I was talking about earlier comes into play, because what I want to do is boil the pork first, because it takes longer to get ready as compared to the chicken. So I'm removing the big bone so that I can cut it into smaller pieces, because what I want to do won't work with bones in it. So the pieces I cut about this big. So this is them. They're not very big, just small. I want to have many small pieces to have some sort of like, yeah, you get what I want to do. So I add some water to the pieces of pork, and this is about this much. Not a lot of water, just a little, just enough to get it boiled. But it might be overkill for some people, but for me that's alright. Anyway, while I put that on the stove and it's boiling, I get to work on the other pieces of chicken. I cut this into the same kind of sizes I was working with the meat, or something similar to that. So yeah, and then after I cut them, this is about the sizes I have, and that's what I'm going to work with. So after I cut it up, I then spiced the chicken, and then I was later going to leave it to set, so while I was getting onto other things and while the meat was boiling, so that, yeah. So this is how it looked like. If you're interested in what I used in the chicken, of course I added a bit of salt. I add salt in all stages of my cooking because I don't know, it's what I'm used to, but not a lot, obviously. And then I used rosemary. These things are in Russian, so you have to trust my translations, obviously, again. And this is black pepper, so I added a bit of rosemary and black pepper. I added spice for meat, and finally I added, no, not finally actually, I did spice for chicken. Still I added thyme as well. I like the herby taste, hence the rosemary and the thyme. And then finally now I added garlic. That's what I used in the chicken anyway, before we go anywhere else. Anyway, while the chicken was resting and the spices were sinking in, I got to work on my onion and my cloves of garlic. So I used about 1/4 of an onion. This is half, but I only used half of it because later on I realized it was too much. So this is how it looked after I cut it. My sister would scold me for the onion sizes are too big, but it's perfect for me, it works. After this, I headed to the kitchen. I got to work on the rice. I got this much rice, and then I added water to it, about 2 times the rice, and then I put it on the stove to get ready. While that was happening, I got to work on the chicken. So by this point the meat was ready, and it was ready, so I added it to the chicken, and yeah, I was ready to get frying with it. So I got the pan and added oil to it, but I'd already added oil, but I didn't record that, so I had to do that twice, trying to juggle being a cameraman and the chef at the same time. So the oil was a bit overkill, but then anyway, it still worked for the good. So I added oil to the pan and turned it on. When the oil was ready, I added the chicken and the meat to it and started frying it. Since the frying was a long process, it's probably a good time for me to smash this. I hope my voice is not boring you. I'm just a bit tired about doing this recording, so please forgive me if I'm boring you. Anyway, and this is all coming from my head. Like, the cooking process was coming from my head. I had not read the recipe or anything, so you have to give me that much juice. Anyway, and now my chicken was ready. It looked golden, so in my eyes I was like, okay, it should be ready for putting aside. So I set it aside on a plate. And lads, always keep your station clean. It's probably good to mention this, as if you noticed, after I used the chopping board to cut my meat, I cleaned it before I used it for the onion and whatnot. This is what you should always do when you're separating, when you're cooking. You know, when you use where you cut your meat, don't use the same place without cleaning it to cut your other things, your vegetables and whatnot. It's not healthy. You know, meat could harbor germs in it before you cook it. So anyway, I had set the chicken aside, and then on the same pan, without washing it because you want to reserve the flavor, I put it back on the stove and then put it back on the heat, and then added the onion and garlic to it so they could start frying. It was at this point when again I added a bit more rosemary and thyme because I like the way it smells. So remember, if you're going to add in herbs to your food, don't add a lot. You know, herbs are strong. You only want to add small portions of it so that the flavor is nice and it's not too strong for you. So anyway, when the onion was ready and it was smelling all nice, I added milk to it because remember, I was going for a creamy taste. I didn't want to make just gravy. I needed it to be creamy, so I added milk to it so that I could make the cream. And then now this usually works with sour cream, but I didn't have sour cream, and this is quarantine, I can't go out to get sour cream. I'm going to work with milk, and then I'm going to use in the same cup where the milk was, I added some cornstarch and flour so that it could help me as a thickening agent. You also do the same thing when you're using cream, I think, but yeah. So I added some water to it so that it could blend into the milk without making lumps. So as the milk was getting ready, I added more salt to it because, as I said, I like adding salt to various stages of my cooking. I also took this opportunity to add more, not more, just add some red pepper to it because I'm a fan, but not a lot so that it's like very hot or disgusting, just to get the flavor in. I'm a cooking nerd, you guys. You might not know this, but I'm a cooking nerd. I like cooking so much, so I focus on these things. So yeah, I let the milk boil and get hot and all that. And then when I was confident in my heart of hearts that the milk was hot enough, I added the cornstarch and flour mixture to it so that I could begin the thickening process. At the same point, I reduced the heat as well so that it didn't get too thick and out of control. So as you've noticed, it's a little bit too little and too thick because some of the milk spilled out. So I corrected this later on, but I missed the stage when I was cooking. I added a bit more milk, and the water that came from the beef and the pork when I boiled it. So that I did later on, but I did not show. Anyway, at this point, I added the chicken to the cream or to the sauce, and it was ready to start. Blending in together and matching and all that. So at this point, remember, as I said, I reduced the heat because you don't want that to happen while the heat is on high. As I said, I'm working with prior knowledge in the background, so you might not be able to think of all these things when you're just starting to cook. But as I say, the kitchen is a laboratory. Feel free to experiment. You've got all the time in the world. It might be a way to get your bottom off hand, get a new skill, start cooking. It's fun. Anyway, so while that was happening, while the sauce was getting ready with the chicken and all that, I decided to start experimenting with my cameraman skills, or video man, I don't know what to call those. So I'm trying to get all sorts of angles of the food. like it to make it any more appetizing. But at this point, my hunger was killing me. The food was smelling so good. Oh my goodness, I couldn't wait for it to get ready. Well, and at this point, the rice has already been done. So I took it off a while back and took it back to my room. So anyway, yeah, I'm done with my cameraman skills. And I think at this point, I decided that the food is ready. So I'm ready to go to my hostels and eat the food. Alright. So I carry my pan and I go to my room and I set it down and I'm ready to eat. But before I start eating, I start playing with the camera because, well, I'm YouTubing. What's the point of not taking it on camera? So yeah, so this was my setup. I was trying to take all sorts of angles of the food and all that. This pan had a lid, but on this very day when I was cooking, the pan got the lid got very hot. So I removed it and then I set it on the sink, right? And then when I put it on the sink, my hands were wet because I wash my hands very frequently when I'm cooking. And then a drop of cold water fell on the lid and then, yeah, it just shattered. There's a scientific explanation behind that, but that's not what this is about. So that was the rice. It was well done and yeah, I really liked how it was. So I put the rice on the plate and then I put the food on it and I was ready to eat. The food was amazing. You should really try this out or try your own thing, make your own thing, whatever works for you. But yeah, so of course I just have to say this, if you've gotten this far, thank you for watching my YouTube videos. I really appreciate you. I hope you really like my videos and you're enjoying it. Subscribe if you did. Please share too, I'll appreciate that. Also, if you care, I don't know if you do, but if you do, I'm an extremist on the actions I take. So I realized that looking at my statistics was making me be a more poor creator because my focus was changing from the videos I was making to something else. Something else being like I was looking at what videos people like more and it was affecting like the content I was making. So I was not like being free to create what I want. But you probably don't care about all this, but so I don't look at my analytics anymore, so I might not reply to your comment very fast, but still leave a comment, like, share, I appreciate it. Bye.